Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. And tonight we have, for the start of SCP-Cember, SCP-3988. So, SCP-3988 is by the one, the only, CadaverCommander.
Yeah.
And you can check it out at scp-wiki.wikidot.com.
My favorite website.
Love
So
it.
many dots.
And before we dive into the rundown and kick off December's SCP-Cember, let's go and do our initial recommendations for this SCP entry. I'm going to recommend it.
I'm going to partially recommend it.
How dare you? For proper balance, I will not recommend it. Although, realistically, I will recommend it.
Wait, sorry, I had the vapors there for a second. What did you say there, Gamer?
No, I'll recommend it as well.
Okay.
Although I'm curious.
Yeah. But yeah, I suppose we'll find that out shortly. But first, the rundown. The rundown, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Shit.
I didn't know that was. We're doing a movie thing now.
I wish I could do a Rock impersonation, because that would be like just how I would do like the narration for the rundowns now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, technically, Christopher Walken was the bad guy in that one. I was SCP-3988 is a magical animated skeleton named Napoleon Bonaparte, created by a necromancer going by the alias of Baron von Boneyard. SCP-3988 was apprehended in Glenwood Meadows, California. And since his detainment has been rather jovial, is sarcastic, and also compliant to the best of his abilities. He has, unfortunately, been unable to supply full details on the whereabouts of his creator due to programming by his creator. Apparently, his boss is hot up on debt to various demons, and so sent Napoleon out into the public to go door to door advertising the Baron's services as a necromancer. The Baron may also be building an army to deal with various groups against him, namely the demons and the SCP Foundation. SCP-3988 has since been given various amenities while in containment for his cooperation. Finn!
Wow.
Yes.
Is that going to be your rundown voice from henceforth?
I don't know if I could do it.
I know. It would work on your... Not that you need to work on your walk-in, but
Yeah.
your walk-in would elevate
Improve.
to running. And then sprinting.
Yeah, I need to. Although we'll see what the reaction is for people. So if people like me doing a walk-in voice for the rundowns,
Wow.
Leave a comment in the comment section below where it's posted.
I'm not gonna lie, for me, it was so distracting. I didn't even hear most of what you were saying.
Oh no!
I was marveling at the walking noises.
Yeah.
But
this is not over. Bears. Sorry. No, the tone, it's all wrong. Do it again. Stab you in the face with a soldering iron.
I love how random of a weapon he chooses for that. But anyways.
Yes, regardless. Yeah, so SCP's 3988 is a magical animated skeleton. And he was created by an amateur necromancer. And the SCP Foundation is looking for his creator. That's basically the gist of it. So, now we shall move on to Everyone tolerates the Grand Inquisitions. At this point, I actually have a couple for an SCP entry, which is odd. So this is in the discovery spot. Discovery, and then like semicolon. SCP-3988 was initially located and detained in suburban Sacramento, California, United States of America. United States of America. So for some reason, there's an apostrophe and an S at the beginning of, or at the end of SCP-3988. And I kind of know why perhaps CadaverCommander put that in there. Like, discovery, SCP-3988 was initially like maybe like he thought, like maybe it was like, I think it's a typo in that, like, SCP-3988's discovery was initially located and detained, blah. But that also doesn't make any sense. So I think you just need to get rid of the apostrophe and the S at the end of SCP-3988.
Yeah, or the typo was something like SCP-3988's location was originally found at, like, something was deleted and re-added, but not completely cleaned up.
Yeah. But I will move on to the next one, which also appears to be my last one. Over a period of several days, the Sacramento Police Department had received multiple reports of a skeleton in a suit wandering through the neighborhood of Glenwood Meadows, going door to door and attempting to distribute flyers advertising the services of a licensed general practice necromancer by the name of Baron von Boneyard. However, shortly after, or in another section of the story, we get this. Briefcase, brown leather, containing approximately 500 single-page folded brochures with information concerning the company/individual Baron von Boneyard, General Service Necromancer, and one unsealed, unmarked envelope containing a handwritten letter. Text provided below. So, which is it? General practice or general service necromancer?
I mean, he literally just kind of tossed this shit together to make himself sound official and send out Napoleon to do shit.
Yeah.
So I don't even think he knows what's the right one. He
Well,
as
yeah.
in
Yeah.
the Baron.
True. However, that's not my like. This isn't on the Baron. I think this is on the SCP. Whoever wrote this SCP dossier, because, like the staff and to a degree, CadaverCommander, that like they used like different wording, even though like one's in a report of like when like SCP-3988 was apprehended, and then in a detailed detailed like listing of what was on SCP-3988's person, they changed the writing a little bit in the document. So it's like I kind of wish there had been a little bit more consistency. Like it, like the brochures should have also said Baron von Boneyard, General Practice Necromancer, rather than General Service Necromancer.
That there's only one document that actually has it written what his name is or what his job
Yes.
title is, though, right? The rest of it is just through dialogue.
Yeah. Well, not through dialogue. It's well through. I suppose like you could say that like, the thing above, like with the Sacramento Police Department receiving multiple reports, like the multiple reports were had in their reports licensed general practice necromancer. So maybe like that's how Bonyparts was portraying his master, when really the brochures read general service necromancer.
Yeah, so he might have been messing up.
Yeah, but it still kind of bugged me.
Yeah, consistency is good. You're right.
Yeah, and that's more on like just like that's not in like for the lore of the story. So that's just more of like a technical nitpick, I guess, on my part. So,
although because like the whole SCP thing, it's all like here's all the information we're trying to teach you about this this creature and all that. If it is supposed to be, if there is two different sources of job title information for this guy, it should be established that we're not sure which one is the right one or whatever like that. Like draw
I think
attention to it instead of just ignoring it.
Well, I think both of them are basically the same because general service and general practice are technically the same. They're just different, like wording of the same thing.
Yeah.
But and also again, like the I love how we're just continuing to add on to this like really small thing.
It's not small, it's huge.
It's what we do on the show, really. But it could be said that like Bony Parts, he used general practice like to try and flourish because he's like a little bit more professional, and the flyer saying Baron von Boneyard, General Service Necromancer, could be there to show that the Baron is an amateur and didn't know what kind of like what to write there.
Yeah, you could be right.
But that's mostly speculation. So,
Mm-hmm.
so as I lounge on the in the nitpick nook,
As you often
Mike,
do.
yeah, as I often do, Mikey, the E stands for evil. What do you got for Grammar Inquisition?
I have a It story.
All right. I was like, what do we do for its story? It's like, okay, you're right. Yes, it's been so long. It's only been conjunctions for years.
Yeah.
And now an it story with Mikey. The E stands for evil. Take it away.
It displays intelligence and is capable of cognition and problem solving at a level roughly equivalent to that of an average human adult. It is resistant to damage with its composite bones possessing fracture toughness and yield stress analogous to those of medium carbon steel and a Mohs hardness of approximately 9.7. Its personality has been characterized by Foundation psychologists as predominantly genial and good-natured, albeit sarcastic and absent-minded. It possesses an apparent abundance of knowledge concerning thaumaturgic principles, theory, and practice, some elements of which have been corroborated and verified by Foundation necromancers. It requires no sustenance or physical upkeep and is not currently considered a threat to interacting researchers. It has consistently cooperated with Foundation personnel since its containment and has been receptive to questioning and interview sessions. Finn.
But what is it? Yeah. Damn you, it story.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't even give us a hint.
Yeah.
We didn't even get like it was a squirrel.
I like how that it story was basically a who was phone situation.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah.
But who was it? Also, I don't have a note on it, but after hearing Mikey bring it up, the SCP Foundation has necromancers on staff. Do you have a note on that?
I do have a note on that.
Okay, then we'll talk about it when you talk about it.
All right, cool.
But yeah. And for those unaware, Mikey does these strings of sentences to highlight all the sentences in the story that start with words that they probably shouldn't, like its, ands, or buts, because there's always better words to use. Yeah.
Though it should be said, like, I feel like the SCP, like an SCP entry, can get away with that.
Because it's not meant to be a structured, completely grammatically correct, like reading, like a three-act story.
It's a different type of narrative, or a different type of format, like for the story. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still funny regardless. Because sometimes, you know, we get little nuggets. Like, again, it was a squirrel. Like, that's why, like, that's literally our like benchmark for an it story.
I remember there was another one that held up really close, but I do not remember what it was.
I don't know, man. Like, nothing really beats for me. It came at full force.
Yeah.
It was a squirrel. So, all right. And then gamer. Do you have anything for Grammar Inquisition?
I mean, one, but it's dialogue.
How dare.
I know. There was a couple dialogue ones. Most of them I let go. But this one, I'm like, I need to write down something. So I'm just-
I need to write down something.
yeah. This is dialogue from Napoleon. He says, I got all kinds of free will, sweetheart. I'm a advanced prototype. Probably should be saying I'm an advanced prototype. I'm advanced.
This is the thing. Yeah, this is the problem with dialogue situation because, like, for me, that's like I'm a advanced prototype.
He's not Christopher Walken.
Nobody had, but like because of the nya that kept popping up, it kind of gave me either like a radio voice from the 1930s or a Vorcha.
Yeah, me too.
Like it was either nya say or nya.
Which did you go with on that?
Honestly, the Vorcha thing came this morning, like popped in my head this morning.
Oh, okay.
So like during the actual reading of the story, I had like a 1930s gangster kind of voice going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
Mostly also because the pinstripe suit that he was wearing, that's like instantly gangland, like 1930s Chicago or like what have you.
I hear tell there was a movie in the Mass Effect world where some Hanar interacted with a Vorcha that was a crime lord of some kind, I believe, and he probably wore a suit.
Yeah, that's true. There is there was a in the classic Blasto in the classic Andromeda film Sons of Blasto, the Shadow Broker was portrayed as a Vorcha.
Mm-hmm.
Coming 2023.
Plug.
Yeah, basically for our One Less Die podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so yeah, I feel like that's again unfortunate because like I hear what you're saying, like in proper dialogue, yes, but like if that's how the character talked, that's how they transcribe it. So
yeah, and it'd be one thing if everything else he said was prim and proper, but literally the start of that sentence right before it is, I got all kind of free will.
yeah, I got all kind of free will.
Yeah.
Like it is kind of a Walken voice, so it's kind of appropriate. Because Walken does kind of have a 1930s voice sometimes. Also, it doesn't help that he's played a lot of crime bosses or criminal characters or criminal types.
Yes.
So yeah.
I think he's pretty much a bad guy all the time, isn't he?
Not true.
Most of the time, anyways.
He was a family man in Communion. He was.
he was.
He was like a husband, like a loving husband and father in that one.
Mm-hmm.
Like he and actually he was a loving father and husband in the musical Hairspray.
I don't know that one.
It's a remake of it's like a 2000s like remake of an old musical.
Let's see.
Yeah.
He does love to dance. Anyways, we should continue.
Yeah, we should. So I guess that's it for your grammar quiz. Okay. Then I suppose we'll move on to actual thoughts. So I'm going to start with this bit here. The entity self-identifies as Napoleon Bonaparte's and claims that it is a product of thaumaturgic rituals performed by an unknown individual. And there's a little like one there to like kind of denote, like kind of a footnote to kind of get to person of interest 6969.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. To whom SCP-3988 previously belonged, referred to by SCP-3988 as Baron von Boneyard, or more casually as Doc, the Boss, or Tony. Wait, is this the boss? Like the guy behind the boneheads of Vulture Gulch?
Ooh.
More on that in a bit. The next thing I have here, it possesses an apparent abundance of knowledge concerning necrothaumaturgic principles, theory, and practice, some elements of which have been corroborated and verified by Foundation necromancers. And to this, I was just like, I love that the Foundation has necromancers on staff, because of course they do. It's
Why
just
not, right?
yeah, like of course they've got necromancers. It's like yeah, of course. Like I'm not even gonna question it.
It really makes me wonder what the hell they would be using them for.
I mean, so like at first I like my right away go to because I was thinking about the same thing, like what they'd use it for. Was like, oh well, it's probably to resurrect D class so they could recycle D class members. But I was like, no, that would probably contaminate the they would probably consider that a contamination of test results.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be a clean slate kind of deal.
Exactly, because they
Not
had
a
to be
normal game
resurrected.
anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, probably wouldn't. Yeah, it probably wouldn't be that great. But like, I could see them definitely having them on staff for for this kind of situation. Like,
Yeah,
who?
where they just need to fact check, basically.
Yeah, like I almost wonder if like, the SCP Foundation isn't trying to get a hold of Baron von Boneyard to like eliminate him, but more or less recruit him. Like for staff, like depending on how, depending on his attitude towards employment, like, so. But I'll move on to the next thing, unless you have something more to say on the necromancer staff.
Nope.
Okay.
They probably do have staffs, though.
I mean, that's
part of the
true.
story.
Yes, you are right. Also, I hate you.
That's fine.
So the next thing I have here, so date 13 August 2014, interviewer, humanoid anomaly specialist, Dr. Stephanie Marquez, level 3. Interviewee, SCP-3988. Setting, humanoid containment site 188. Investigation interview 398801. And so this is like, I use this as the example, but like I noticed it across the entire story or the entire entry. I'm noticing not a single redaction.
True.
And like, it's not really a complaint. It's just kind of interesting that all the information we get in this is laid out for us. Like the town names, like Glenwood, like near Sacramento and stuff like that. Though, to be fair, I didn't actually look up for once. I didn't look up a name of a town to see if it was a real place.
Who are you?
I don't know. Hang on, I'm actually looking it up now.
It might just the reason that
nope, Glenwood Meadows.
The reason that
hang
things
on.
aren't redacted might just be because this creature is safe and low level, so it doesn't matter.
Well, so yeah, that's part of Glenwood Meadows north of Sacramento in California. Yeah, so it does exist. But for me actually, like when I read these kind of entries where like have very little redactions, rather than kind of get disappointed about it, it's like, oh, like I kind of wish that had been redacted. I wish like this had been a little bit more like an old school SCP Foundation entry where it was like, we found this character in redacted, blah blah blah. It actually kind of makes me feel like, as a reader, like a high-ranking SCP faculty member.
Yeah,
because I have access to the unredacted, or the declassified document.
Mm-hmm. That's
so,
true.
Yeah.
And also for this sort of thing, like, there's been stories in the past where we read them and we're like, why are they saying the name here? Why are they saying the location here? They shouldn't be saying these things because it's like a high-level threat and a problem. But
yeah,
as I said before, because this guy isn't really a threat and he's low level, it's not really a big deal.
I mean, come on. His name is Napoleon Bonaparte's. He's a skeleton who was handing out flyers.
So threatening.
Yes. Send in the tanks. nuke Sacramento from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
Yeah, for sure. You never know.
Yeah, it turns out those flyers have a mimetic virus on them that like pull your skeleton out of your body when you read it and animate it.
Jeez.
I kind of want that to be a thing. Like,
I don't. I like my skeleton where it is.
In a horror scenario, I mean. Like,
okay.
Yeah. Though,
now that you mention it,
skeletons are real sexy. No, okay.
I'm sorry.
Moving on.
Okay.
So this is also from the interview. So Dr. Marquez. Well, we can come back to that topic later, Napoleon, if you want. But for just now, can you tell us what the Baron's name is or where he is. And then this is SCP-3988. Nope. Tony's really secretive, befitting a mastermind of his stature. I have no idea where in Southern California his lair definitely is, or what his last name is, or which specific dental office he's employed at. He took most of those details out of my head, but not all of them, I guess. Dr. Marquez continues writing notes. Dr. Marquez, I see. And what exactly were you doing in Glenwood when we found you? And then so it continues on with like his information, stuff like that, and even goes on to like kind of talk back about Baron von Boneyard a little bit, about how amateur she is and such. I really like Napoleon's personality and character throughout this.
Gender on Baron?
What?
You're assuming gender on Baron von Boneyard, who's been referred to as Tony?
Yeah.
I guess Tony could be gender neutral name.
Wait, I'm just using it as a term, I didn't mean anything like that. But
I was just surprised that you assumed that the Baron was female. That's all.
I didn't.
It sounded like you did, unless I misheard you.
I think you might have misheard me.
Okay.
But regardless, yeah, I really like Napoleon's personality and character throughout the interview. Like, it really kind of helps flesh out his character. The sarcasm comes through for sure, but you can also kind of get a sense of rebellion for his creator. Like how ticked off he is about having to like being like kind of given so many identities and not having any memories wiped. Like how frustrated he is. So he's trying his best to kind of fuck over his creator a little bit.
Yeah, he's giving out as much information as he can, considering like the mental blockers on him.
Yeah, like I have no idea where in Southern California his lair definitely is.
Yeah.
I don't know his last name or which specific dental office he's employed at. So it's like he's giving information.
He's really secretive.
Like it's like, so like he's definitely in Southern California and he works at a dental office and his name's Tony.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the SCP Foundation could track down this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like with that information alone,
that work in Southern California, a dental office, line them up and freaking Napoleon be like, "That's the guy."
That's definitely not my boss.
Yeah, he just points at all the ones that aren't his boss.
Yeah. Or like again, like on a more serious thing, like SCP Foundation could definitely just like send in like a small detail to just like snoop around each, like find a Tony who works at a dental office in Southern California, and even if there's a bunch of them, just have them like snoop around their homes or like stake them out and just see like where they go and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like really wouldn't be that hard for the globe spanning foundation.
Yeah.
In fact, I think this would probably be the easiest way of tracking down a person of interest with the information that Napoleon has given.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just like that the sarcasm, the kind of accent that he has in this version of himself, and the sense of rebellion that he has for his creator is fun. Then the next thing we have here. So your creator programmed you to advertise his business and sent you out in public, unattended, without a disguise or any kind of protection. SCP-3988. SCP-3988. Well, he did give me the insta-death dagger to defend myself with, because of how I got no muscles. That's a super powerful magical artifact. Kills anyone it touches. Guaranteed. But he never implanted any violent impulses in me or anything. So I didn't use it at all. Kind of scary. I'm a pacifist by nature, apparently. So this right here demonstrates why I'd love to throw this as fodder into a game scenario, most prominently in Shadowrun. Sorry, Mikey. Because this dagger could have the spell one less guy bound to it, or like one of the kill spells, like one less ... or like literally, I think the spell is called like either slay or kill, depending on the strength of the spell. Like I think one less ... like is like the most powerful of the death spells. But you could have that spell bound to this object, making it an instant death artifact.
Can you do that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we might have to consult our local Shadowrun wizard expert.
Yeah, because I don't remember being able to put specific spells onto gear. It's just like, do you have a focus? Okay, cool. You can cast spells through that focus.
I'm pretty sure that's a thing you could do in Shadowrun. Sorry, Mikey. If we wanted to, again, we have to consult Captain Solanum since he is our expert on like magic in Shadowrun. Sorry,
Okay.
Mikey.
I kind of figured I would have had a spell on some stuff if that was the case, but that's fine.
Yeah, we'll have to talk. Check out our Shadowrun campaigns on One Less Die, our sister podcast. Plug. And then Shadowrun isn't the only system I want to use this like whole like this whole entry for. Like I could easily see this whole thing being used for like an adventure or a scenario or a mystery in Esoterrorist or Fear Itself, in Monster and Other Childish Things or Little Fears, or even just a Delta Green scenario, like to name a few. And depending on how you want the player characters to act/treat Mr. Bonypart's presence when he comes into the neighborhood, like you could have it as like the kids in Little Fears or Monster and Other Childish Things are living in the neighborhood when Mr. Bonaparte shows up, and then they get the flyer, and then they have to like kind of like, well, who's this Baron von Boneyard? We should probably figure this out. And like maybe Bonaparte's is like wants like is actually like looking for some help to try and be freed of his programming and stuff. Or you could have it more like kind of serious like kind of investigation game of like this weird cryptid Mr. Bonaparte's has showed up, and like have the Esoterrorist or Delta Green show up to like try and like placate the public fears and also like veil out the whole situation to make it mundane, while also getting to the bottom of this supernatural entity. And like it kind of be more on the light-hearted end, I feel. Or you could take it darker, like Bonaparte's could be a red herring of like, oh, it's going to be a silly romp of a mystery, and then you get to like Baron von Boneyard, who's actually like blood sacrificing children or something like that, like something dark to amass an army worthy of Mordor. Yeah, that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's definitely like this entry has a lot of potential for game fodder, I felt like while reading through it. And then we get this, like right after the quote I just referenced, with the whole like death dagger and stuff like that. Dr. Marquez, actually, we did perform tests on the knife you had. We didn't find any anomalous properties of any kind. It's just a knife. And my reaction and SCP-3988's reaction were about the same. I was like, oh, well, my ideas still stand.
Yeah.
About the death knife. Also, I gotta feel bad for the D-class guy who's just like, they clearly were gonna test that knife on a D-class member.
They probably just like touched him on the chest with it. It's like, nope, he didn't die.
And he's just like,
has to stab him though.
Yeah, still alive. It's like, you couldn't have made it a flesh wound. Why'd you go for the heart? I
mean, he did die.
Instantly, or relatively instantly. And then we go on to my next thing here. This is again dialogue from the interview. SCP-3988. You got that right, sister. But I've got faith he'll sort it all out and come and get me in the end. Because he designed me to think that. Although, like with a bunch of other stuff, he didn't program me not to say that he's a total amateur who's in way over his head, in a lot of debt, with some very specific and angry demons. So he had to come up with this general practice racket to try to make some scratch on the side. And he made up that part about being fully licensed. That doesn't even make any sense. Who's giving out necromancer licenses? Voldemort? I guess that's why he's working on an army. He's boxed in, and he knows he's going to have to start swinging soon. Between the demons and yous guys, sorry, I went into like a little bit of a Stallone, like yous guys, or like a anyway, yeah. Between the demons and you guys, things aren't looking good for Baron von Boneyard. Haha. Okay, so this adds further to my ideas of like, game fodder stuff. Because again, like kind of dips in a little bit more into a serious like situation where like an amateur necromancer is trying to create an army to stop like demons from attacking him because he's in debt with them for, I guess, gaining his power and stuff. But also it gets me thinking that maybe this is the guy behind Joey Fucknuts and the Boneheads of Vulture Gulch. Because of like how amateur he apparently is, like and also the fact that he like this SCP-3988 Napoleon Bonaparte's brings up the fact that he's amassing an army, or he's creating an army to try and like stop the demons from getting at him. So like maybe that's the purpose of the Boneheads of Vulture Gulch.
Yeah, they were made for that purpose, and like this is like a prequel to all that, basically.
Yeah, and also the fact that I'm pretty sure the Boneheads of Vulture Gulch are in proximity to Sacramento. Like they're within like obviously not walking distance, but they're within like a fair decent driving distance of Sacramento, I believe. Like I don't know if it's California, but it's like one of the neighboring states that area is.
I don't remember where they were.
I know it's in a desert, so please forgive us, CadaverCommander. It's been a while since we read Joey Fucknuts stories, so
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if you wrote some more, like
wow,
a plan. Although, seriously, I want more. Also, I got a little sense of doom, or at least like a sense of like a disaster coming. With the whole like idea,
talk about like demons coming from hell.
Well, the demons thing and the fact that like this amateur necromancer is building an army.
Yeah,
like that can't go well at all.
Mm-hmm. So just clarify. Do you mean Doom? Do you mean the game Doom, or Doom in general?
I mean like dread, like a sense of, which is also a fucking game.
Yeah.
I mean a sense of like disaster,
Yes.
like an impending doom, not Doom Eternal or like the Doom games.
Unfortunately, yes.
I mean the term
However,
Doom.
There is demons that are potentially going to show up and fight this guy, which is kind of Doom-like.
I mean that is true, yeah. And then we get the contents of the envelope that was sealed in with all the other stuff from Napoleon's. So, and you actually have to like, so it's a little link, and you expand it, and it gives this like yellow note, this yellowed like paper note kind of thing with like hand printed, seemingly hand printed note that says, "All right, Napoleon, it's crunch time. We've got to build the customer base, and we've got to build it quick. Remember, focus on the afterlife communion and seance stuff more than anything else. People fall for that sentimental crap like dominoes, and it's cheap as hell. You're walking proof this stuff works. Anyone that doesn't slam the door in your face is going to be sold. Just work your charms, and I'll be able to afford enough soul stuff to feed Gorzugal. To feed Gorzugal, and I'll be able to get the regents to stop Shiriok from watching me when I'm in the goddamn shower. Then we can quit out to the Caribbean just like you wanted. We'll take the drones, load them up on a boat, and knock over an island. I'll call it Death Island, probably. We'll be sipping Mai Tais on a beach before the year is out. Just you wait. You're the man for the job, Napoleon. No bones about it. I'm counting on you. Stay safe, and I'll see you in a few weeks. It's you and me against the world, buddy. So, first of all, I actually need to bring this up. Did CadaverCommander do that diner? Like, was he the one behind that weird, creepy diner in like Kentucky? And also, was that Gorzagal that was referenced in that SCP? Because like, or am I just like kind of hearing a similar name?
I don't know.
I'm actually kind of curious about this. Like, this just happened. Like, I just like clued into that like now while reading the note again. Hang on a second. We're gonna take a quick moment because I want to double check this.
Yes, you're right.
It is Gorzagal?
I believe so.
Yeah, because it was 39.
Yep.
Okay, interesting.
3896.
3896. Okay. Right, because 3896 had the double, like 3896 was the Nights That Grow Weary, and also is this one. Yes. Okay, so SCP-3 is that one also by CadaverCommander?
Yeah, I mean it's got the cool stuff on the top, the cool header.
And it is under his SCP works, SCP-3896, which I'm assuming is not going to send me to the other website. Yep, no. It sends me to the diner in Alabama. Sorry, not Kentucky. And yeah, it's Big Gordo's Grub Shack, but it's Gorzagal, right?
Yep.
Interesting.
Left, you'll see a couple of Gorzes.
Nice. So yeah, I like how. So there's a couple of things here I can elaborate on more than just that. First off, yeah, I love that again. CadaverCommander is like it seems like a lot of his entries are connected, or in just like in various ways, like and some of them kind of subtle. Because again, like it took a second reading of the message to realize that Gorzagal was an entity we've kind of we've encountered before in his work.
Yeah, I thought that name was familiar too, and I was gonna look it up, but then I didn't.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That went for me.
That's fair. I mean, it's like me and I was gonna look up Glenwood Meadows, and then I didn't until we're on recording. So, I don't think we've come across Shiriok yet, so that might be a new one. But I also like how this whole thing is formatted. So like it's a link that you expand and it pops up with a yellowed kind of a yellow document, like a yellowed like space where there's this seemingly handwritten or hand printed document. The hand printed part is actually typed, and the font is a hand printed type.
Yeah.
Which I think is amazing. Like I love that kind of formatting. Like again, it's just kind of, to me, it's what I've come to expect from the quality of a CadaverCommander entry is their use of graphic design in the entry.
Mm-hmm. It's such a simple way to do it too. It's just there's a picture there of a yellow square, and then you type over it.
Well, yeah, I'm like, is it actually an image of a yellow square, or is it like, can you change the background of that that text box?
Well, either or.
Yeah, either or. Like it helps again make it like look like a yellowed piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like I really liked this. Yeah, that huge props for me for that. As a graphic designer, it's just like this entire entry like just made me so happy. Both like aesthetically and like with the content we actually got in the story in the entry.
Yeah. There's a couple of things I got from that scanned letter. One is just props for making it look like a scanned letter that was brought in. And also, it shows us how truly evil the Baron is. Honestly, because, like, what kind of lunatic writes landscape style on a piece of paper? On 8.5 by 11?
Like a cue card, right?
No, it's 8.5 by 11.
Oh, that monster.
It might also be a cue card if it's really tiny.
That's what I assumed it was a cue card, not a.
I imagine it's a
11 by 8.5.
He's writing sideways.
Oh my god, that's. Yeah, this is like okay. Anybody like I'm kind of getting Invader Zim vibes of evil.
Yeah,
like kind of like incompetent, like evil necromancer.
Pretty much, yeah.
A little bit of a try hard, but no, I love it. Like, absolutely love it. Yeah, that's really all my notes until our final thoughts. So, Mikey, these stands for evil. Speaking of evil and incompetence. No, I'm kidding.
Wow. No, that's my turn. That's when I come. That's when I show.
Ah,
Evil
Alright.
and incompetence is our like duo.
Alright, so I was taking this SCP seriously until I read the entity self-identifies as Napoleon Bonaparte.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then later during the interview, it's asked, "Do you have a name?" The first section of the response is "Hot Diggity Dingo."
So his actual name is Hot Diggity Dingo.
Hmm.
Damn.
Nailed
What
it.
revelation.
Hmm. Yeah. And then the other thought process that I have is that this guy could literally just be a robot because his bones aren't typical bones. They're composite.
Yeah, they're as hard as like mild steel or carbon steel.
Yeah, it says they're like. They don't say they are though.
It doesn't
Right?
mean they aren't.
I know.
They aren't. If I could pull a
I kind of
from Napoleon's repertoire.
So are you telling me that this guy's so Baron von Boneyard is not a necromancer, but a mechromancer,
Oh.
like from Borderlands?
Or he's simply just a scam artist. He's a robotics engineer, and he makes a quote unquote lifelike moving robot, but makes it look like it's a skeleton to basically push his scam. And he says like push the seance stuff because that's easy and cheap, and everyone falls for it.
That's true.
So there might be no magic.
Also, so like my initial reaction was I hate it, but the more I think about it, it's like I was literally going to pull something similar to this in a Shadowrun campaign on you and Captain Solanum there, gamer.
Oh really?
Yeah, where it was going to be like, well, yeah, or it's like it was going to be I was going to be using like robotics and science to try and fake out a magical thing or a supernatural thing. Because it would infuriate Captain Solanum. It's like I'm a sensing. I'm not picking up anything. What the fuck? That's not how the rules work. Review cultist. What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's weird. It must have some weird magical blockers on it or something.
Yeah, and then just have Captain Solanum just go insane with fury because like he thinks I'm breaking the rules of magic in Shadowrun.
Sorry, Mikey.
Yeah, sorry, Mikey.
Yeah. So those are my main thoughts.
Okay. Did I steal your thunder there, by the way, Mikey? Like with the
No.
Okay.
I'm just going robot.
Okay, cool. So that's the end of your actual thoughts?
Yep.
Okay. Gamer, you're up.
Okay, so quote is, it is resistant to damage with its composite bones possessing fracture toughness and yield stresses analogous to those of medium carbon steel, and Mohs hardness of approximately 9.7. So, I know that they're doing research on these creatures and all that shit, but it makes me wonder how. Like, have they been progressively hitting him with harder and harder metals until they crack one of his bones? Like,
Maybe?
they must have done something to be able to get a specific rating on the bones, like saying it's about as hard as mild carbon steel and has a Mohs hardness of approximately 9.7, which is not a very approximate number. Like they've done testing on this guy.
I wonder if they like because he's been very cooperative. So I
Yeah.
wonder, and we've already seen, like, through the interview segment, we do see that he's able to, like, pop off his bone parts and, like, break out of cuffs and such.
Yes, as I
So
was about to say with my
okay,
next line, maybe
I
he
apologize.
removed his form and just let them do gentler testing of it.
Yes, yeah. I wouldn't doubt that because he seems like the kind of guy that would just like if they asked him nicely, he'd give them one of his like bones to test.
Yeah, for sure. But that should be something that's mentioned in this.
Yeah.
Like through his willingness to cooperate, he's lent us samples to do testing on, and it's about like this, you know.
Yeah.
It's because it adds more to his character and how the SCP Foundation are handling this. Because again, the first thing I thought was they're smacking him with shit.
Yeah, just like they got titanium like baseball bats, and they're just like smashing at him, or they got like a machine that like applies a certain amount of force.
Press.
Yeah, or yeah, it's just the SCP's version of that YouTube channel where they just like they they just crush things like the different things.
Yeah,
I think they did one on teeth to see how long it
Probably.
would take for a tooth to crush.
I think they've done one on everything by now.
Pretty much.
So many things. Either way, I can move on. SCP-3988 was initially located and detained in Suburban Commando.
Yeah.
I really read it as Commando the first time.
Suburban Commando.
Yeah, which makes me wonder how he would fit into that stupid movie.
I mean, if he's a robot, it could be an alien robot that Suburban Commando has to go and maybe Suburban Commando is brought to, so we could run a Wushu game or a GURPS game where one of the characters is Suburban Commando and there's a bunch of other characters from like other movies, and do like a modern League of Extraordinary Gentlemen where they have to hunt down Baron von Boneyard, who's amassing an armor of Terminators.
Nice. Also, what was that second system you mentioned? I've never heard of that one.
Because we never played it. GURPS is the general, or I think it stands for General Universal Role Playing System. Yes, it uses two vague, like overarching general terms for the first things.
It's that general.
Yeah, it's basically a point build system that claims that you could basically do anything in it. Like they made the system so that you could run anything in GURPS. It came out in like the
exploration and space combat.
Yep, there's a book for that. There's a book for horror. There's a book for fantasy. There's a book for superheroes. There's a book for everything in GURPS.
So why
it came out
everyone play GURPS?
Because it is crunchy, and not a lot of people, and not everybody likes crunch. There are also some problems with the system that people have brought up and some of that. I've listened to a couple of games of it. It's fun to listen to. I don't know. I have one of the books. I've looked it over and I went cross-eyed. So
I see. Okay.
I mean, you might enjoy it. I'll let you look at the book sometime.
Mm-hmm.
But it is basically a point build system. It also goes into like I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm confusing GURPS with Rifts, but I know that there is like things like mega damage on top of regular damage.
Mega damage. Okay.
I think I may be confusing two systems, but
is that like a true damage situation?
No, like for an atomic bomb, you'd use, or like for like a Gauss rifle, you'd use mega damage rather than like standard damage.
Oh, okay.
Like that kind of stuff. But again, I may be confusing systems. But yeah, GURPS, like the games I've listened to of GURPS have been like Modern League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, where they've been able to make characters from movies and pulp culture using the point build system. Like we got Dean, they were able to make like Dean Winchester, the Lizard from Spider-Man. They were able to make a Highlander from the movie Highlander, a grown-up version of the Firestarter from Stephen King's The Firestarter. So like a bunch of, you can basically make like a ton of character, like there's a ton of options to make like any kind of character you want in GURPS, and that's kind of where how they've advertised the rule system.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's-
but again, it's one of those like earlier '90s rule systems. So there may be some issues with like how it was written, or like it may be a little primitive compared to like more modern RPGs. I don't claim to know much about it aside from what I've listened to. So,
okay, fair enough.
sorry on that little tangent.
That's fine. I was curious what GURPS was,
Mhm.
and now I know.
And
Now
knowing is half the battle.
So yeah. Then we get on to when SCP starts talking, and his first word is "Nya." So I kind of chimed in on this, but like specifically the accent that I gave him when he said "Nya" was Papyrus from Undertale.
Okay.
Specifically, how Aaron Hansen from Game Grumps does his voice, because like
Okay.
the way he sounds basically the same. Where it's like he sounds like a 1940s salesman dude, but like he laughs with like "Nya."
Nah.
So like,
Yep.
and he's also a skeleton.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it tracked quite well. And yeah, my second was the Vorcha, of course.
Yeah.
I saw the two options right when I started reading, and I'm like, which do I go with though?
So
I
I'm
really wanted to go Vorcha because it's funny, but
Yeah.
like just with the sound of his voice. But I'm like, this character seems silly, and making him Vorcha like with his voice didn't seem right, so I went with Papyrus.
also looking at the images of Papyrus, because like I didn't know I've never really played Undertale.
How dare I haven't even.
Or like I've watched a little bit, but like a few Let's Play stuff, but like I've not apparently gotten that far in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could definitely see like honestly like the way his stances and stuff like that, like and the way he looks like I could definitely see Napoleon Bonaparte's just being like a reskin of Papyrus.
Yeah. He's like a bumbling idiot, basically.
Yeah.
So they are a little similar.
Haha. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's kind of funny and interesting how just with one word they can describe someone's voice, at least to people like you and me.
Yeah, to like
Just
to
by
it-
saying "nya," he either sounds this way or that way.
yeah, like yeah, say yeah.
Yeah.
Thought you're pretty cool there. Yeah.
Mhm.
Or yeah, human. Like wow, we got really gravelly there.
A little bit. That's fine. It adds to it.
Yes.
Then my next note is basically just like I really feel for Napoleon for this
Yeah.
freaking skeleton. Like at first he seems like a happy and silly kind of SCP, but then it's dropped that he literally can't convey his true emotions, and he
Yeah,
has
it's like
to be jokey and happy despite the insanity and confusion that he lives with. And
yeah,
it's like, oh.
yeah. He's he's a very sympathetic character. It's like I'm dying inside.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't emote anything other than happiness, and I hate myself.
Yeah,
It's
like silly and
oh.
harmless SCPs are good in their own right, but having a dark twist on this kind of adds to it
Yeah,
because it keeps it sort of fucked up because that's what SCPs are supposed to be for the most part.
they're supposed to be like unnerving in some capacity, and I feel like this is a way to do it. Is like to have a character that seems like pleasant on the surface, and then the more you read details and stuff like that, is like, oh no, this thing is not jovial. It's all an act, or
Yeah.
it's against its will.
I'm gonna be honest too. When I loaded this up and I saw like level 2 containment safe and like it's all super chill, I'm like, oh, is this the little blue blob guy
We need
from
to
the
find that
game?
one. Yeah, we need to find that character. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
throw that in for this month. I've
I
got
thought it was gonna be that one.
a what?
I thought it was gonna be him just because that was the last like safe SCP we talked about, basically.
Yeah. No, I think the reason why why I chose to do 3988 was because I was remember when we did one of our Halloween episodes recently, or like a month ago or so. It was about like a skeleton that went across town, and so I tried to find an SCP that was a skeleton.
Oh, I see.
So I think that's how we got that. So,
Alrighty then.
but yeah, you're gonna have to get me the number for that blob creature so I can add that to this month's roster.
Yeah, we'll have to find him.
Yes.
But either way, I'll do that later. I'll do that offer.
Yeah, yeah. You're like in that silence. You were doing it now.
I was starting to type. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, that's actually my last note before final thoughts. Honestly.
Okay, then I suppose we'll head over to final thoughts. So much like Joey Fucknuts and his kin in Vulture Gulch, I really enjoy the character of Napoleon Bonapartes. Like he's funny, but kind of tragic. Again, like Joey Fucknuts and his kin. And while it's not very creepy, there is a sense of there's like a little bit of sense of sinisterness. It's like kind of like like it's not sinister. It's like there's a kind of a sense of creepiness because of how because of like the situation that Bonapartes reveals he's in, like the situation he's in. And then like also that his master is an amateur necromancer who's building an army to overthrow demons that he owes debts to, and also, deal with the SCP Foundation when they come a calling. So like there's bits in there that are thrown in that kind of give it a little bit of like just a little like bit of salt of like a little bit of seasoning of dread and creepiness. But most of it is just this fun, silly, weird entry. And honestly, I'm still going to recommend it as a result of that, because you're either going to enjoy the read of the entry alone, or you're going to like it for fodder for a game, which is honestly what I kind of want to use it for, is for like a game fodder for something. So yeah, that's why I recommend this one. Mikey, these stands for evil.
See, I liked the check out my notes here. I like that he's Napoleon Bonapartes, even though that threw all seriousness out the window.
Yes, it is
like
rather disturbing.
I really wanted to take it seriously, and then bam, I can't.
Yeah.
So so to me, I'm sort of on the fence as to whether it's good or not, because of the fact that I can't take it seriously. But then if you look at it, that he might be a robot that's shaped like a skeleton, everything checks out, because robots can disconnect and reconnect and everything, like he does with his hand.
Yeah, like because like Wi-Fi is a thing, so like maybe the parts, all of his competent parts are like connected wirelessly.
Would all have batteries in them, though.
Oh well, actually, so like recently, I mean I don't know how, like again this so Baron von Boneyard might just be like a rather than a necromancer, be a mad genius and like have really advanced tech, because like I'm starting to like I've been seeing on like on scientific like threads on Twitter of this like smart like goop, like magnetic goop that you can cut in half and separate, and it will find its way back to itself.
That's
So like yeah, like there is like it could be like that kind of technology where it's like, and that's just like it's a sludge. It's like a magnetic sludge that has like programming in it somehow. I don't know about the science behind it. Obviously, I just saw it like on Twitter, but it was like
shit.
Yeah, like it almost kind of reminded me of like stuff that you'd see in Eclipse Phase, even like it, like honestly, again, like to go back to the game fodder stuff for a second. I could see using this idea in a game of Eclipse Phase, where like some guys like found some Titan tech, and went nuts from using it, and considers himself a necromancer because the creations he made are skeleton robots that are using Titan tech to kind of like have super advanced technology that allows them to like basically act and corrupt and whatever. So, but sorry, Mikey, you're back to you.
Yeah, so the biggest thing for me is that I can't take it seriously. Like that's where,
Okay.
like, it's fun but
Are we not
I-
here to have fun?
but I want more
Okay.
than just basically an animatronic skeleton. That is cooperating with the SCP. Like, I want there to be something more, I don't know, supernatural about it.
Well, I gotta say, he is supernatural. Your own assumption of him being a robot isn't in the story.
Yeah,
That's true.
that's a theory.
The way that the story like portrays him, it says he's an animated skeleton, not that he's an
Yeah.
animated skeleton that is actually a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You-
Well,
You've mundanified it by making it a robot.
well, even like he's just an animated skeleton that can talk and has memories of doing things and being different people. So he's got multiple personality disorder.
You're making this. He's just a very complicated
Yeah.
creature,
Yeah. I
and he's also like kind, and he's willing to work with the SCP Foundation instead of fighting against them, regardless of his programming.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure what your problem here is. Sorry, Mikey.
Is it that your headcanon ruined it?
Yeah, probably.
Fair.
Okay.
It might also be like because he's a really silly character and everything, but they're also trying to put a sense of dread and seriousness on top of it. So instead of just going full silly and fully enjoying it, the silliness is kind of fighting with the seriousness. Is that also what's happening? Because like with the boneheads of Vulture Gulch, it's all relatively silly. Like there's nothing.
There is some like creepiness in that, but yeah, you're right. It is mostly
but
silly.
it's not like there's bad guys that are making a world-ending army and summoning demons, and you guys are gonna have to fight them in a three-pronged war. You know, it's not that level of danger.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, like I'm trying to think. It's like think back on Joey Fucknuts and like the Boneyard stuff or the Bonehead stuff. I'm like, yeah, there's some stuff that's like mentioned, but it's not as for I don't to me anyway. Like and like this is like me separated like by time after reading those stories. There's like the seasoning of creepiness isn't there really compared to this one where there's like a seasoning of like a foreboding doom with the whole like the necromancer's an amateur and building an army of undead or something. Or that there's demons that are like after him too. So yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Either way, I think I get you, Mikey. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm still a partial recommendation.
Okay.
Fair enough.
And gamer.
Yeah, my thoughts haven't really changed one way or another. I still recommend it. I'm really curious how this will go, or if it's already gone somewhere, basically. Like if there's more story in regards to tracking down the Baron, if he has his own entry or whatever. Or if there's some side story situation.
Yeah, I was actually pleasantly and unpleasantly surprised that there's no links really to the like that were hidden in this one.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But also, yeah. So this story was written. Before the recording, I checked when this was posted. It looks like CadaverCommander started like posting it and like refining it and stuff like that back in 2018. So we haven't really seen anything else from it since.
I mean, it's possible that one of the other entries is a continuation from this with the Baron or whatever.
True. Well, Baron is a person of interest, a POI 6969. Like that's his that's the character's designation in the SCP Foundation. So
yeah, but he may have been captured and turned into an actual SCP.
True. But also they don't have an entry on POI 6969.
That's what I'm saying. You might
Yeah.
be a different code now. But when you click
Okay.
on it, it says originally referred to as POI 69 or 6696.
Is it 6696? Okay, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was 6969. Okay.
Because you were thinking nice.
Yeah, that
Either way.
yeah. I'm sorry. Yes.
It's fine. But who's to say whether there's another one yet? Unless I go through all of his SCPs and read them all.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, again, if CadaverCommander is listening, hey, shoot us a message and let us know if there's any more stuff that we could be reading about this character and these or this whole situation, because like I think it's unanimously we'd love to read them.
Yeah, because there's a lot of story here, honestly, like with the demons that the Baron's like having dealings with, and
yeah, like we didn't, yeah, like
war. This could go very badly for Earth because of what's happening.
Like again, because we know the entry of Gorzagal is this creepy ass like cannibal diner that like you don't realize you're eating human flesh until you like leave the area, like the zone of influence.
Yeah.
So like, and that's Gorzagal, like whatever demon creature that is. So like that's I think like the era of I think that actually is kind of giving this a little bit more credence of like creepiness because of that.
So he's not feeding Gorzagal people; he's feeding him soul stuff. Unless that's referring to just people, because people have souls.
It might be, yeah, it might be souls. Well, maybe that's another thing that to feed Gorzagal.
It's in the note. It says, "Just work on your terms, and I'll be able to afford enough soul stuff to feed Gorzagal."
Well,
we have to buy this soul stuff.
Well, because in the entry with Gorzagal or Big Gordo, he's the chef. So he's not eating the food he's making out of people. But the soul stuff might just be the actual like living the souls that he needs that he feeds on, not rather than the flesh.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was mixing up with the demon ones. Okay. But either way, I'll recommend this. I'm curious if it goes anywhere.
Okay. Then yeah, that's our recommendations. So 2 full recommendations and 1 partial. So. And if you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave a comment in the comment section below where this gets posted, whether it be on Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. We're all on Twitter. Mikey is at the E stands for evil. The Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow, but without that W at the end, because his name is very long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm at Review Cultist. If you'd like to send us emails, use aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com. Where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas, SCP entries, and stories. Spooky things. You creep it, we'll peep it. Yeah! And if you'd like to help support our show financially, you can go to Patreon. Select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 and $5 tier with special episodes, early access, extra content. To our patrons that are helping support the show, thank you guys immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay. And as always, we very much appreciate that. And to our listeners and the authors of these stories, thank you immensely, because without your listenership, it'd be like screaming into the void. And without your authorship, CadaverCommander, without your amazing entries, we really wouldn't have much of a show because we'd have nothing to talk about. And for the SCP entries and the Joey Fucknut stories, I'd be real sad if I didn't have them in my life. So
yeah,
thank you. Until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the E stands for evil.
And I'm the Gamer in Yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.